Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about the 3 staplers that we use in our business to make homecoming mums. If you are a crafter, I think that this would be a good video for you. These are, I would say, my favorite overall crafting staplers, not just mum staplers, but I will show you how we use each one of them in our mum business and why I think that they're good. So as you can see, these two are Bostitch brands. And this is a new stapler for us this year. It is actually an electric stapler. I'm so excited about it. One of our mom friends had posted a question in our Facebook group asking, does anybody use an electric stapler? And we don't. And my first thought was, I don't need another stapler in my life. But then I got to thinking, I don't know about you guys, but by the end of the season, the last 2 seasons, especially as our quantity of mums started going up, between weeding, glitter vinyl, and stapling, it's that same repetitive motion over and over again. And my right hand would hurt. And so I'll be honest with you, now I'm always kind of geeky and want to buy stuff that a cool new crafting tool, who doesn't? But this one really came out of my, what can I do to help me not have my hand hurt in the season? And so a couple of my friends put some good suggestions up there, and I'll put one of those down as well so you can see it, like a bigger stapler that probably will work a little bit better than this one in getting all your widths. But I kind of went on my little Amazon rabbit hole that I like to do and wanted to find one that was portable. I actually bought this one because I wanted to see if I could use it for skirts. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really work the way I want to do it for skirts. But after I started using it for loops, I was like, this is pretty cool. I really like it. So I'm going to leave this one to the end since it's the newest, but I wanted to go through the 3 staplers that we use and why we use them, and then maybe why we have 3. And then I'll also tell you, if you were to only buy one for your mum business, which one I think you should start with. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. It really will help our channel to grow and will help us to bring you more crafting tools, tips, and tutorials. And if you want to be notified when our videos post, make sure to hit that little bell as well. Okay, let's get started. This is the Bostitch P3 Stapler. It is the stapler we use most of the time in our homecoming mum business. And we like it because it's lightweight. And we also love it because this flat side here really allows you to get in and manipulate some areas that you need to put staples in when you're assembling your homecoming mums. And really, I use it for any of my crafting things. I love that part of it. The other thing that we love about it specifically to homecoming mums, it allows us to kind of get into some of those creases and manipulate and hide staples if we need to add a color ribbon to a braid, or we also use it. I'm trying to think the best tutorials for you to see it, and I think that would be our double bubble gum braid and our large bubble gum braid. I just did that one a little while ago, and it will show you what I'm talking about with that if you want to visually see that. So this is the stapler that we do love. I will say that when I hear people say they don't like the P3, they say that it jams a lot. It is usually, when I ask them, their answer is that they are using standard staples. And the P3 stapler, you do have to buy the P3 staples that go with it. And so let me show you the difference. This is a regular staple, and this is the P3. And as you can see, the P3 is much thinner. So just make sure that if you decide this is the stapler for you, just know that you will need to order the staples as well. So basically, to load and unload this stapler, and I have it full right now, but I just wanted to show you to load and unload, you just pull this open, and then once it's full, and it's nice because one whole row of staples will just fit right in there, then you just close it up, and then you're ready to go. So again, this is the one you're going to see most often in our tutorials, and I think I want to show you because I'm sure that you'll notice it and you'll probably wonder why, but we always staple everything backwards. So when you're watching me in a tutorial, most of the time my stapler is going to be upside down. It doesn't really matter for these loops, but I've just gotten in the habit to do it, because when you have a staple, you want to make sure that the flat side is and the smooth side is always on the back. So like when you're stapling your HOCO loops, and you know what, I'll put a picture of me stapling HOCO loops up at the top so you can see what I'm talking about. You want to make sure that the smooth side is always on the back side of the ribbon so that it doesn't catch on anything behind it. And then that leaves this part that you could catch stuff on, it's not going to be exposed once your homecoming mum is completed. So that's probably why you'll always see me that way. We actually talk about it in our 6 best tips for homecoming moms, which is on our blog, and you can we'll go through a little bit further detail there. But this is the Bostitch P3 stapler, and we love this stapler, but let me show you the B8 Bostitch, because we do use that for certain things in our homecoming moms as well. This is the Bostitch B8 stapler, and we use this stapler primarily for skirt assembly and for attaching the final attachments, attaching the crown to the skirt. We like it. It's a heavier duty stapler, and it comes with, of course, its own staples. They're kind of I think they call them crown staples, but basically, I don't know if you can tell. Let me show you the P3 again. It has a little bit of a kind of a rooftop to it. And again, you have to use the correct staples for this one, or you will have issues with it jamming. But it is a great stapler to use for really heavy duty stuff. Now, do you need both staplers? No. But we added this one, and I will say these staples are a little bit more expensive, but like for skirt assembly, for example, I'll find that I'll use one of these staples versus if I'm using my P3, I'll use 2. So I think in the end, they're probably not any more expensive than the other ones. But I did want to show you, because I know some people might say, well, why don't you just do the B8? Because that way it takes care of everything. The thing about the B8 is it's heavier. It's significantly heavier than the P3. And I was trying to figure out the best way, because you can't feel them here, but I wanted you to be able to tell the best you could on this video. And so I thought the only thing I really knew to do was to get my shipping scale out and actually weigh them so that we could see what the difference is. And I did. Both of these are loaded completely with staples. So we're going to compare apples to apples here. But if we put the P3, hold on a second, let me let it zero back out again. If we put the P3 on here, you're going to see that it weighs 8.99, let's just say 9 ounces. And then if we put the B8 on here, it's over a pound. It's 1.05. And when I first saw that, I was like, that's really not that different. But it really is, if you think about it from a percentage wise, that this stapler is almost twice as heavy as this stapler. So the reason that we have both is so we can use this one when we need it. But for everyday use, we can use this one. And as I said again, we're going to go back to the theme of this is easier on my hands. When I'm making this during crazy homecoming season, I wish it'd be crazy to think how many times I staple in those 3-month period of time. This stapler is going to help my hands a little bit, but this stapler is going to allow me to really assemble when it comes to skirts. So they're both useful, and I hope that gives you some information to make the decision as to which is best for you. But what I want to do now is show you my favorite new stapler, and that's the electric one. So let's look at that, and then we will come back, as I promised, and we'll talk a little bit about which one I think you should buy if you were only buying one. Yay, finally a stapler that takes actual standard staples. So this is my new favorite electric stapler. As I said, I kind of bought it. I was going to try to use it for skirts, but it just didn't seem to work. So I was going to send it back. but then I kind of fell in love with it when I started using it to make loops. So let me tell you about it, and then I'll show you kind of one of the things we're doing to help us with loop prep, and that'll let you see it in action. So this one it comes with an electric, but it's also battery. I think I'll probably primarily use it with the battery because I love that it's so portable and that I can take it downstairs with me and watch TV, or I can take it throughout my craft room, or I can even throw it in my prep bag. In fact, let me show you. Let's get out the shipping scale again and let's see how much it weighs. Okay, so it weighs 13.1 ounces. So it weighs a little bit, it weighs less than the Bostitch, and it weighs somewhere in between. So this one is the heaviest again, and then this one's 9 ounces, and then this one is 13 ounces. So I hope that gives you an idea too. When I went down my little Amazon rabbit hole, I was thinking, there's got to be an electric stapler made for crafters. And believe it or not, it is. It is made for crafters. I've never used this brand before, but it's made for crafters. So let's load it. If you do want to use the electric, it goes right here. But to load it, you press this little button right here and it pops out. And then the only negative so far that I'm seeing with it is that you can't load a huge giant, amount of staples at a time. That's probably because of the size of it and the portability. That's why I am going to go ahead and list that other one down below. If being able to load a huge amount of staples is important to you, I'll put a little note in there, caveat that, we haven't used it, but our other mom friends have. So let's look at how we're going to use this. And I think I'm primarily going to use it for loops. And like I said, I was prepping some loops and I just started with it. And what I love about it, because we always double back our loops so that the shiny side is out. And so I'm usually using 2 hands. And I love that I can just staple, as opposed to if I'm using my other stapler, I have to line it up and then actually pick up my stapler and put it in there. So I really think that when you're making like a huge amount of loops, that this could be a major time saver. The other thing that I like about it is that I feel like it's really going to save the wear and tear on my hands. And I do the majority of our cutouts. Rayanne does actually the majority of our backer loops. And so between cutouts and stapling, by the end of the season, my hand is just done. So that was kind of one of my goals, was to solve that. And I guess I didn't know that was the answer, was an electric stapler. So what Rayanne and I do at the end of every season is we get together and we think about what could help us be more efficient, what could help us make more mums in less time, or, truth be told, really sleep more. That's really what we're concerned about. What will help us sleep more during mum season? And one of the genius ideas that Rayanne came up with was, she was thinking, because she does most of the backer loops, that the lining this up, because we usually layer our loops. So say we're lining this up and then we're going to layer it with something else. So like we have a white, navy, and silver school. So let's say we were making a backer loop for them. We're going to use 2 whites because it's going against navy and we want to make sure that they stay nice and bright. So we've got to line these up, and then let's put a number 9 on top like this, and then we'll staple it. But again, it's the lining up part. We talk about that a little bit in our 6 best tips for homecoming moms, that we love doing this, but it can be a little difficult, or not difficult, time consuming to line them up. So we'll get that one. But what Rayanne's vision is, and I've already kind of played with it a little bit and I'm loving it, is that we have like a bin here of our most common colors. And for us, it's probably going to be navy, red, black, of course, white for senior. And then we can just grab one of these loops. And then instead of having to lay it down and layer it and make sure that everything matches up, we can just grab the ones that we need, a number 16 and a number 9, and we can just layer it up. And staple. And I know it doesn't seem like that's a time consumer, but when you're making lots and lots and lots of loops, that adds up. And again, this is the first time we're going to use it this season, but I wanted to kind of show you that that's something that we're doing, and maybe it's something that would help you. I would think about maybe what schools you have that are your big schools and what are their common colors. I know a lot of people use that concept for skirts. Like if you're making a skirt and say you put, a row of 40 and a row of 16 and a row of 9, a lot of people will think about their common colors and maybe only use that common color for the 40 and the 16. And then you can prep that part and then add the number 9s at the end. That reminds me, if you're wondering what I'm talking about all these they actually refer to the width of the ribbons. And we did a video called the Ultimate Homecoming Ribbon Guide, and I'll put that at the end, and you can see what I'm talking about. We go through all the ribbon terminology, we go through what ribbon we use, our favorite colors, our favorite senior colors, and then of course where to buy it. So I'll kind of show you a little bit of our vision on this, is that we have a school that is red, white, and silver. So then we could take our navy loop, and it's so much easier when you're not doubling that white, but I still believe that it's worth it because it really makes that white pop. Then you can just add that extra layer and you're ready to go. And then we have a school that is navy, Columbia blue, and white. So then we can just add another loop again and put it that way. So there's just a little bonus tip. It allowed you to kind of see my new favorite toy in action, and I hope maybe gave you some ideas on ways to prep best for you. I know I promised that I would talk about if I was only buying one stapler. Say this is my first season in the business, and I'm a firm believer that you buy what your business allows you to buy. You don't go buy stuff and go into debt. That's not going to help your business. But I also am a firm believer in you buy stuff that helps you be most efficient. So if I was buying one of these 3 staplers and I only had a certain amount of money to spend, or say I also needed to buy other things, and so I was going to start with just one stapler, I would choose the P3. The reason I would choose the P3 is, again, goes back to the wear and tear on your hands, and then it's easier to use, and it will accomplish everything that the B8 will accomplish. This, for the quantity of mums that we make, it allowed us to justify it. But it's something that we added later on in our business. We used this stapler for a long time. Before we started making mums as much as we do, we just used a regular stapler. So again, just save these ideas. This is the one I would purchase, but from everything that you've seen, there may be another one that you think you would purchase. So let us know in the comments, do you have another favorite stapler? Maybe there's one that we're missing and we would love it. And just as a caveat and a reminder, if you're going to purchase one of these, make sure you purchase the correct staples that go with it. I think that's it for our stapler review. I really appreciate you staying around and listen and watching our videos. If you have another crafting tool that you're looking for or you want us to review, leave a comment below and we'll see if we have it or see if we can figure it out. Have a great day, friends. Happy creating. We'll see you soon.